There's no way to prepare for the moment your heart learns something your mind refuses to believe. I was pouring my morning coffee when the text came in. Just 6 words from my son, Matthew. "Mom, I've got big news. Check your email." I smiled then, the way mothers do when they expect happiness. I thought maybe he'd gotten that promotion in Atlanta, or maybe, just maybe, he'd finally met someone. He'd been single a long time after his last breakup. I remember telling him, "When it's right, you'll just know." Turns out, he did. But so did I, the moment I opened that email. Inside was a wedding announcement. Simple, elegant, cream background with gold lettering. "Matthew Collins and Amanda Reynolds invite you to celebrate their union this July in Savannah, Georgia." Amanda Reynolds. I didn't read the rest right away. I just stared at that name, because Amanda wasn't some stranger. She was my best friend for 22 years. If you're listening right now, tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and maybe answer me this. Have you ever felt your heartbeat slow? Not from calm, but from disbelief? Amanda and I met when our boys were in middle school. She was laughter where I was quiet. Wine nights, birthdays, shared grief when her husband left. We used to joke that we'd grow old together. Her with her wild red hair and big opinions, and me, steady and soft-spoken. She knew everything about me, every secret, every memory, even the way my son took his coffee. I read that invitation over and over, each time hoping the name would change, that maybe I'd misread it, that it was another Amanda, another life. But it wasn't, and the photo at the bottom confirmed it. My son, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling like the world had finally lined up. I dropped the phone. Coffee spilled across the table. It looked almost poetic, like something dying in slow motion. The first thing I felt wasn't anger. It was displacement, like the ground beneath me had been rearranged while I was still standing on it. I couldn't stop seeing moments in reverse. Every dinner the 3 of us shared, every just helping Matthew move apartments, every late-night call from her asking, "Is he home safe yet?" It had all meant something else. I didn't text him back. Not yet. Instead, I scrolled through their photos online. Engagement post. Dozens of comments. "So happy for you two. What a beautiful couple." And one that twisted the knife just a little deeper. "You both look like you've known each other forever." They had. If you've ever had the breath knocked out of your lungs by a truth you didn't ask for, click the heart so I know you're still here. It helps, somehow, to imagine I'm not the only one sitting in a quiet kitchen, learning the world isn't what it was yesterday. Later that day, my phone rang. It was her, Amanda. I stared at her name on the screen until it stopped ringing. Then it rang again and again. Finally, I answered. Her voice trembled a little. "Ruth, I didn't want you to find out like that." "Like what?" I asked. "Like an email announcement?" There was a pause, so heavy, it seemed to fill the room. She whispered, "We didn't mean to fall in love. It just happened." I almost laughed. Love doesn't just happen. It's built step by step. Like a house you don't realize isn't yours until someone changes the locks. That night, I sat by the window, the Georgia rain tracing patterns on the glass, and I tried to remember the last time she'd come over. 2 months ago? She brought my favorite pie. We talked about Matthew.
I told her how proud I was of the man he'd become, and she'd smiled, soft and strange, and said, "You raised him well." Now I understood what that meant. I didn't cry, not that night. Tears are for sadness. This was something different. This was erasure. Because it wasn't just about them. It was about me realizing I'd been a supporting character in a story I thought I was narrating. If you're still listening, stay close. Because the next morning, I made a decision I didn't know I was capable of. To go to that wedding. Not to stop it, not to bless it, but to see it. To look it straight in the face and decide what kind of woman I was going to be afterward. And maybe, just maybe, to remind them both where they came from.
When people betray you, they don't always mean to. Sometimes it happens slowly, like sunlight fading in a room. You don't notice the dark until you can't find the door anymore. That's how it was with Amanda and Matthew, my best friend and my only son. I spent the next few days pretending I was fine. It's strange what grief can look like. Clean kitchens, folded laundry, polite smiles. I kept moving because stopping meant remembering. The town started whispering before I ever spoke a word. Small towns always do. Someone must have seen the engagement post. Someone always sees. At the grocery store, an old neighbor patted my hand. "Congratulations, Ruth. You must be so proud." I smiled. That's what mothers do. We smile when we're breaking. That night, I sat in bed scrolling through old photos. One stopped me cold. A summer barbecue 5 years back. Amanda in my kitchen, laughing as she burned the corn on the grill. Matthew behind her, arm brushing hers, both of them smiling like something secret lived between their shoulders. How did I not see it? How did everyone else not see it? If you're watching this, tell me where you're listening from. And tell me honestly, have you ever missed every sign that someone was slowly taking something precious from you? I remembered when Amanda first started coming around more after her divorce. She'd say, "You're the only family I've got left." I believed her. I let her into my home, my holidays, my son's life. When he moved back from college, she was there helping him unpack boxes. When he got the flu, she brought soup before I could. At the time, I thought it was kindness. Now I wonder if it was history repeating itself, just a different kind of home wrecking. I tried to write her an email, something rational, something dignified. I typed, "You could have told me," then deleted it. Typed again, "You were like a sister to me." Deleted that too. No sentence seemed small enough to fit the size of the betrayal. Instead, I wrote nothing, because silence is sometimes the only thing left that belongs to you. But silence has a sound. It hums between phone calls that never come, between dinner plates set for one, between your heartbeats when you see their photos online. 3 days later, Matthew called. "Mom, please talk to me." I almost didn't answer. But mothers always answer, even when they shouldn't. His voice was gentle, too gentle, like he knew I was fragile china and he didn't want to see me crack. "Mom, I wanted to tell you earlier, but I didn't know how. You've always loved Amanda." "Yes," I said. "I did." He went quiet. I could hear the wind through his car window. "Are you angry?" he asked. I thought about it. "No," I said softly. "I'm disappointed." And that's worse.
If you've ever had to stay calm when your heart wanted to scream, leave a comment below, because I know I'm not alone in this. After that call, I started avoiding the places we used to go. No Saturday markets, no Sunday service. Even the coffee shop felt smaller, like the air had been borrowed by someone else's happiness. People kept saying, "You should go, Ruth, be there for him," as if love was a reflex, not a choice. So, I made one. I RSVP'd yes to their wedding. Simple. No note, no emotion, just yes. Because sometimes showing up is stronger than disappearing. The week before the ceremony, I got another call, this time from Amanda. Her voice was tight. "Ruth, I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you there." "Why?" I asked. She hesitated. "Because you're family." That word, family, it hit me harder than all the rest. Because family to me meant loyalty. To her, it meant convenience. I said nothing. She filled the silence like she always did. "You never wanted to hurt you." And I finally said what I'd been holding in since the day I read that email. "You didn't just hurt me, Amanda. You erased me." That night, I didn't cry either. I opened my window and listened to the cicadas hum outside. Georgia nights have a way of holding you when no one else will. Somewhere out there, they were planning a wedding, and I was planning how to survive it. If you're still here with me, stay close, because the next part of this story isn't about what they did. It's about what I decided to do when I stood in that church and saw my son waiting for a woman I used to call sister.
The morning of the wedding felt too calm for what it was. The sky over Savannah was soft gray, the kind of weather that holds its breath. I dressed slowly, cream lace dress, the one I'd worn to church last Easter. Not too formal, not too humble, just enough to say, "I'm here. I'm still me." I pinned my hair the same way I did when Matthew graduated college. Some part of me wanted him to remember that version of me, the proud mother, not the broken one. Before I left, I looked at my reflection. There were lines around my mouth I didn't recognize, not from age, from restraint. If you're listening right now, tell me where you're watching from. And tell me honestly, have you ever had to walk into a room where your dignity was the only armor you had left? The church was small and beautiful, white roses climbing up the pews, candles flickering soft gold light. I chose a seat in the third row, far enough to be polite, close enough to see everything. People turned when I entered. Whispers drifted like perfume. "Is that her?" She came. Yes, I came. Because sometimes silence needs a witness. Then the music started. My son, my Matthew, walked down the aisle in a navy suit, the same shy smile he had when he lost his first tooth. I felt a tear threaten, but I swallowed it down like an oath. Then she appeared, Amanda, my best friend. Her hair swept up, small veil, trembling hands clutching the bouquet. For a moment, I almost didn't hate her. She looked nervous, human, and then she saw me. Our eyes met, just for a heartbeat, and I watched a flicker of guilt cross her face. It was small, but I saw it. It was the first honest thing she had ever shown me since this all began. The ceremony began. The pastor's words blurred, love, honor, cherish, the kind of vows that sound like mercy when you haven't lived through them. And then, if anyone here knows of a reason these two should not be joined, the air thickened, people shifted. For a second, I swear,
I felt every eye turn toward me, but I didn't move because that's not the kind of woman I am. My silence was louder than protest. It said, "You don't get to make me the villain of your story." If you've ever wanted to scream and chose silence instead, leave a comment, because sometimes strength is just refusing to perform your pain. After they said their vows, Amanda's voice trembled. She looked at my son like he was oxygen, and my heart, foolish, maternal, loyal, broke for both of them. Because I realized something. I wasn't just losing a son, I was watching him find his own home, even if he built it on the ruins of mine. At the reception, laughter floated like confetti. Music, toasts, clinking glasses. I sat at a round table near the edge of the room, nursing a glass of sweet tea and pretending to eat. Amanda approached, bouquet gone, still glowing in that post-vow way brides do. "Ruth," she said softly, "thank you for coming." I looked up, met her eyes, and said, "I came for my son." Her smile faltered. "I hope one day—" "No," I interrupted gently. "There doesn't have to be a day. I don't need to forgive you to move on. I just need to let you go." She nodded, eyes glistening. For once, she didn't have words. Matthew came over next. "Mom," he said, voice full of worry, "you okay?" I smiled. "I am now." I touched his hand. "You chose your path. Now walk it fully and kindly." He blinked back tears. "I love you, Mom." "I know. And I love you too. But love and approval aren't the same thing. You'll learn that. If you're still with me, tell me, have you ever realized love sometimes means letting someone go wrong and survive it? Because that's what motherhood really is." As I was leaving, I slipped an envelope onto their gift table. No check, no card, just a note that said, "May this marriage teach you what honesty costs and what love is worth when truth is late." When I walked outside, the air smelled of gardenias and rain. The sky was opening up. That kind of soft drizzle that feels more like cleansing than weather. I didn't look back. I'd seen enough. That night, for the first time in months, I slept without dreaming. Because some endings don't need closure. They just need distance. If you're still here, stay with me. Because the last part of this story isn't about them. It's about me and what I built from the silence they left behind. Peace doesn't arrive like thunder. It comes quietly, like the morning after a long storm. Sunlight tiptoeing through broken clouds, reminding you that you survived. 3 weeks passed after the wedding. The house was finally still. No more phone calls, no more pitying looks from neighbors. Just the kind of silence that hums when something inside you starts healing. I went about my days in small rituals. Coffee at dawn, watering the garden, folding the same towels I've had for 20 years. People think strength looks like moving mountains, but sometimes it's just making the bed after your world's been set on fire. One afternoon, a delivery came. A small box, no return address. Inside was a framed photo. The three of us, me, Matthew, and Amanda at his high school graduation. Their smiles were young and unguarded. On the back, a note. "For all the years you were there, even when we didn't deserve it." No signature, but I knew. It was from them. If you're watching this, tell me where you're listening from.
And tell me, have you ever been given an apology that came too late, but still healed something anyway? That night, I took out my stationery, cream paper, blue ink, the kind I use when I mean what I write, and I began a letter addressed to both of them. Dear Matthew and Amanda, I've had time to think, not about what happened, but about what it revealed. Love, I've learned, doesn't always look like kindness. Sometimes it looks like confusion, selfishness, or fear. You both were afraid to lose what you'd found, even if it meant losing me. I can understand that now. I won't pretend to forget the pain, but I can forgive it. Because holding on to bitterness only keeps me living in a story that already ended. Matthew, you are still my son. You will always be the best thing I ever built. Amanda, once you were my friend. You taught me laughter, shared my secrets, and broke something precious between us. But even broken glass can catch light. So, I wish you peace. And I hope one day when you remember me, it's not with guilt, but gratitude. Be good to each other. And if you ever have a daughter, tell her the truth about love, that it's sacred and messy and human. With honesty. Ruth. I folded the letter neatly, sealed it, and placed it on the windowsill for the morning mail. But then I hesitated. Something in me wanted to keep it, not because I needed them to read it, but because I finally understood. Forgiveness doesn't always need an audience. So I tucked it inside my journal instead. A confession written for my own peace. Weeks turned into months. Summer melted into fall. I started volunteering at the library, story hour for children on Wednesdays. It took me back to a time when Matthew was small, his head resting on my shoulder and his fingers tracing the images in his favorite picture book. Little faces, wide-eyed and curious. Sometimes I'd see a mother and son holding hands, and it would sting for a moment, but only for a moment, because I wasn't waiting anymore. Not for apologies, not for closure, not for the phone to ring. I'd already reclaimed what was mine. My calm, my voice, my place in the world. If you've ever forgiven someone who didn't ask for it, click the heart. It's not weakness. It's the bravest kind of freedom. One evening, the phone rang. It was Matthew. He sounded nervous, younger somehow. "Mom," he said, "we're expecting." There was a pause long enough to hold every memory between us. "Congratulations," I said softly. "You'll be a good father. Just remember what not to hide." He laughed, tears in his voice. "I love you, Mom." I know. And this time, it didn't hurt to hear it. That night, I sat on the porch, fireflies blinking like tiny lanterns over the grass. The Georgia air smelled like honeysuckle and rain. For the first time, I felt light. Not because the story was fixed, but because I'd stopped carrying it. If you're still here, thank you for listening to my story. Tell me in the comments, have you ever rebuilt your piece from pieces someone else broke? Because here on True Life Stories, we don't just tell stories, we remember them. Subscribe, stay with us, and help the silence end, one true story at a time.